Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 466.
466.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. Save up to 25% at select Disney Resort hotels on most nights. I can hear Chewie in the background. From July 11th through September 28th. And check out MEI and Mouse Fan Travel for that information and a no obligation quote. Plus, there's so much going on this year, including Silver Anniversary at Sea on the Disney Cruise Line.
You know, if you hear any background noise, it's because we are dog watching our good friend Matt from Attractions Magazine. We have his cute little dog, Chewie, and she may be making a little bit of noise, but she is a very good dog. We love having her.
We're trying to keep her as quiet as possible.
So anyway, we're finally going to talk about the Disneyland Paris Annual Passholder event.
Well, I think it was their 10th ever Disneyland Paris Annual Pasholder Party. And it was called Park Disneyland Adventures, but there was no way for us to really understand what was going on because if you didn't speak French, they only really had it in French.
The game part, yeah.
The game
so I have no
part,
idea about the game, but we know all about the entertainment because it's a lot of it we've seen and loved before in the past,
including the Pirates and Princesses.
Now,
I love that.
This is being explained again in French, so this is sort of explaining what is to happen. Again, no idea what's going on.
Why are we showing it?
But I wanted to just give an idea, and then this part, from here on in, we can kind of figure it out, and it is the Pirate and Princess Party.
Right, it's Betty Rose and Jimmy Ocean, and I don't think anybody knew that the beginning was going to be Pirates and Princesses. And
make your choice. That's what it was. Not Pirate and Princess Party. I was thinking of something from Disney World in the past.
Pirates or Princesses, Make Your Choice, which was an event that happened back in and I had it written down. I don't know where I put it, but around 2018. We did see it so many times. And back then, it wasn't just a stage show, but that was part of it. You would have a float of pirates coming from one end of the parade route and then a float of princesses from the other parade route.
And they'd sort of meet in the middle.
Right, at Central Plaza. And then, you see Mickey and Minnie here in their pirate outfits, and they are wearing the outfit. Oh, well, I guess Mickey is part of the princesses, right?
He is. No, he is not. He's a pirate.
He looks like a pirate, but I thought he was with the princesses.
Mickey and Minnie are both team pirates.
Okay.
And the princesses, obviously, are team princess. Yes.
And so, anyway, they get to Central Plaza, or they would get to Central Plaza, which is what they're going to do in a minute. And then they sing.
And that was the first time I think they had Central Plaza entertainment on the stages. I think they made the stages specifically for the Pirate and Princess Make Your Choice.
Yeah, they did.
And then they've kept them going ever since for almost any event that's happened.
And so Festival of Pirates and Princesses ran from March 2018 till March 2019. It's hard to believe it was only a year. We saw it a couple of, I don't want to say... We
saw it in the winter and in the summer.
Right, and on a couple of different trips we saw it. So it was really an incredible event. And this is just kind of part of it, again, because you don't have those parade floats. You don't have, Peter Pan's not going to be jumping around doing acrobats and stuff right now here. Yes. And I was by the stage at this point, and you were here.
Well, you were by the entrance, right? By the castle.
I'm not the stage, right? By the castle. There's no stage there except on the other side.
And I picked a stage, and I picked a stage where I thought I'd be able to see the castle, which I did. I was able to see the entrance and the castle, and it turned out I was mostly seeing Team Pirate. But you know what? You can't go wrong with Minnie Mouse.
Right, and each of the stages had different characters, like you might have gotten princesses on another stage,
or Mickey,
and there was no way to know ahead of time who you were going to get.
And I'm going to do a little pan here and kind of show the position that I was at in relation to the other stages. There you see more Team Pirate, you see Team Princess back there, and there is Mickey with a mixture of both pirate and princess dancers.
And there was no way to move at this point,
yeah,
right?
As you could see, absolutely not. Wherever you were, that's where you're going to be.
And I could kind of tell from when you chose your spot, I was like, okay, well, I'll find some place that at least right now is a little bit not as busy.
And one of our first tips, it was really good that we did split up in this case because, you were able to get great coverage of the characters coming out of the castle, the entrance. You had some really nice footage of the projection show that was on the castle, kind of showing, they had a little highlight reel of all the other annual pass holder parties, leading up to this number 10. So I thought that was pretty cool.
And I wanted to say that this pass holder party costs like $55. So
What a
everything
deal.
it compared to other pass holder parties and different events here in America, it was probably at least half the price.
And you're going to see a lot of entertainment. I mean, think of all the different performers, the practice, everything that went into this one night. I mean, one quick night. And if it had rained, most of this probably wouldn't have happened.
And it was not that busy in the park. I mean, there were certain areas that got busy, but for the most part, you could just walk around Disneyland Paris till 2 a.m.
Yeah. We should mention it started at 9 and it went till 2 a.m.
But you could get in the park at 5. So Disney Classic Celebration was one of the shows that they performed a number of times in Videopolis. And so it was really just performances, performances for 90s films.
So when I arrived at Videopolis, they were letting in the very last people for the first show, and I made the executive decision to wait because I really wanted to get a good seat for the second show. It ended up where we only waited about a half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, but it was worth it because it's very important to get a good seat, I think, to see, and especially to record these type of shows at Videopolis. And I love this. This was one of the highlights. There were many highlights, but seeing all this was really great. And the music, again, we'll link to it, but all the music that goes along with it is wonderful. And this is a lot of 90s type Disney classics you're seeing here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it is all 90s. You've got Beauty and the Beast, you've got Aladdin, you've got Mushu here from Mulan, yes. And Hercules, and I'm trying to remember what else. Oh, that's right, Tarzan as well. So it was really very popular with everybody that we knew, and it was inside, and it was very cold.
This is pretty awesome coming up, where you see Mulan, and she's in her traditional Mulan, and then you get a quick change on stage, and there she is dressed in her battle outfit. You don't see that very often. I thought that was a very nice effect.
It was really well done. The performances were great. Disneyland Paris to me has really the best entertainment overall. Just all of their entertainment. I just love it.
And as we're watching this, just again, remember, all this for one night, for only, 4 shows?
Yes.
Unbelievable. And they were, again, so popular. And I've heard as the night progressed, it was harder and harder to even get into these shows. So they were extremely popular. So again, another tip would be to see the earliest Videopolis shows you can.
If they do it.
If there's another event like that. This is very similar to what they've done for the soirees and also for New Year's Eve type of a deal. From what we talked to our friends that have attended those.
And I'm sure there'll be more pass holder parties. I do want to mention, as we're watching this,
Hunchback.
Disneyland Paris annual passes have been halted
as
far as the sales. We made this trip so that we could get our annual pass renewed, our Infinity Pass.
It's funny that you bring this up. I didn't even think of that.
Yes.
We're talking all about an annual pass holder party, but you can't buy an annual pass.
Well, I mean,
you can renew.
You can renew your annual pass, and I guess they now have a way to do it on the phone, where before I don't think there was any way to do that, or online, unfortunately. So we trekked to Disneyland Paris at a time that we may have waited a few more weeks to go in April. But we ended up getting to do the annual pass holder party.
Yeah, and I'm so glad we did. Looking back, I'm so glad. At first, I'm like, maybe we should go a little bit later, maybe in April, catch the anniversary. The weather might be a little better. And honestly, the weather was a bit cold and rainy the first week we were there. We were there for 2 weeks. But I am so glad we got to see all this and get our annual pass renewed. And we're looking at Tarzan and Jane. Do you remember a Tarzan show from Disney's Animal Kingdom?
And I loved it.
Tarzan rocks.
I watched that more than almost any show, probably any show at that time. I just thought it was really great, and I enjoyed the music. And also, as far as annual passes, while we're watching Tarzan, who's a very good performer, by the way.
Yes.
There's supposed to be a new range of annual passes coming, and I assume they'll come later this year. They said they were going to make an announcement about it later this year. So I'm sure the range will come with much higher prices. And then different benefits and such.
Yeah, so we're all eagerly awaiting. I'm thinking maybe there might be some kind of Paris announcement on the anniversary.
No,
on
I don't
April
think
12th.
not for annual passes.
It'll be much later. You think?
Well, they said later this year. I don't think that they're ready, or else I think they would have I think if they were that close to being ready, that they would have started it now.
Okay.
I hope there'll be some sort of announcement, so because there's a lot coming to Disneyland Paris, including that new Frozen area, and I would like to hear what the additional section of Walt Disney Studios Park will be.
So anyway, we're now looking at the finale for the Disney Classic Celebration. One of my favorite parts of the whole night. So many different characters. This kind of reminded me of some of the things you would see on the Disney Cruise Line with those character shows.
Right, right. And so really a lot of great characters here. It was a really nice show, and I know I was like, well, I don't know if I want to sit for a show or if I want to walk around. And the next time I did walk around while you were watching Jungle Book Jive, which I love.
Right, yeah, Jungle Book Jive. That's what we're about to see after this.
It was hard to make decisions.
Yeah, there's just so much going on.
Lot, right, there was a lot to do,
and all of it was at the same time. You know, so like as this was going on, there was the first Jungle Book Jive, so I had to make the decision: do we see this show or Jungle Book Jive? And I think we ended up choosing wisely. I tried to see the second Jungle Book Jive. We're going to start talking about that because that is coming up right now. And when I got there, it was just too busy, so I decided I had to be at Jungle Book Jive a full 40 minutes. 40 minutes as the previous show was ending, I arrived to get this front row center shot. And I really wanted this shot because I knew there was a lot of action in front of the stage. And I'm so glad I put in the time because this probably was the highlight for me. And you really, I think it was important to get a front spot to really see all this introduction.
And I would have loved to have seen it, but I really wanted to get around the park too. And so we split up and you got to see the Jungle Book Jive. And the Jungle Book Jive debuted in June of 2019. It is something we have also watched many times
we were
in
there
person.
for the very last one, which was
we do that a lot, and the Festival of Pirates and Princesses as well. But they did bring it back briefly at Walt Disney Studios Park. We didn't see it there. So the Jungle Book Jive, back when they did it in 2019, they brought drummers from India. They went over to India to get drummers. And I just thought that lended such an authenticity to it. And that was the first time also we saw those colored fireworks during the daytime, which we now see during Central Plaza shows often.
Right, and this show was normally presented in Central Plaza over the 4 stages, but seeing it here all together on one stage, it was awesome. It was awesome. If you're a fan of the show, like I'm a fan of the show, this was actually a great way to see it because you're seeing everything all together at once. And it was really I'm so glad it was a special experience.
And I was mentioning the castle stage earlier. I was not in front of the castle stage earlier. This is the castle stage, which is on the side of Sleeping Beauty Castle. And we've seen many Halloween shows here.
Yes.
So that's what we've seen more than anything here. And also the I See a Princess in You. Remember, we used to see that.
Oh! Now you're gonna make me try to think of what that was called.
I thought that was what it was called. That was the show. So here we are. We have Goofy and Clarice and Donald. So you have some Disney characters, but you also have quite a few other performers, just like in other Disneyland Paris shows.
And there's Baloo. I remember when we would see it on the main stage, Baloo would be, he's so big, but he would actually be off the stage jumping around with so much energy.
Oh my gosh.
And there is a lot of energy here. And again, this show here was after 1 in the morning because right after this, I probably had 15 minutes to get from this stage to somewhere in Central Plaza. By the time this show was over, Central Plaza was packed. So I'm still glad I did it.
Right.
I'm still glad I did it. But yeah, it was. You had to make your choice all night. Make your choice,
just like the
Pirate and
Pirates
Princess.
So the songs include "Trust in Me" and "I Want to Be Like You," and obviously. So it came from the Lion King. I'm trying to remember. The Lion King and Jungle Festival is what it was actually called back in 2019
right.
Because it wasn't just the Jungle Book Jive.
That's when the Lion King show debuted.
And we saw that this trip again. And that's such a great show.
So now we're going to go into what you were doing. I did some of the character interactions. I did this one, the Sultan, but you took it a little further because I had to run and get a spot for the show we just saw, the Jungle Book Jive.
And the Sultan was really nicely lit. And you could just get a quick selfie if you wanted, a quick photo of him, a little video. but you really just had to kind of keep walking. It was not a meet and greet. There were no meet and greets on this night as far as official meet and greets.
And that was announced. I like that they announced in advance there'll be no meet and greets. Now, a lot of big character fans disagree. They like to be able to wait in line and get a picture and meet the character. But for me, this worked very well. The park felt alive because it's not just, seeing the princes and princesses like this here, but you're also seeing obscure characters. You're seeing characters all around the park, places that you would not necessarily even expect to see them. And again, the park felt so alive. Like each land had characters just kind of doing their own thing. And you'll see what I mean. But I actually really liked having so many characters spread out around the whole park.
I like at Disney Fan Days when they did both, where you could meet if you wanted to wait, and also the characters would look to you if you just wanted to take a photo. And that was my favorite. Now here, Rapunzel speaking with Betty Rose. I don't remember. I think it was just Betty Rose
and
here.
We were waiting to get a picture. I think you had got a picture with Betty, and I wanted one. And but it was funny because somehow Betty pulls out the glitter, and you'll see that Rapunzel was quite a fan of the glitter.
And Flynn's just kind of hanging out there waiting. So Betty Rose and Jimmy Ocean became known during the Pirates and Princess Party that they were Pirates and Princess Party characters, and now they are very popular for like the past Annuel show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so, they're well known to fans.
And I love that, you had a smattering of people, but it wasn't like they were mobbed, it was, you could see the park itself was very, very quiet. It was a great night. It was dark though. I mean, I had to you could tell I've had to really lighten this up just so we could see it here. And that was one thing. There was a lot of things happening in almost total darkness around the park.
That's pretty much it. Like the characters and stuff, you sometimes you couldn't really see who you were seeing, like the Sultan was very well lit. Now Merlin and Arthur here, were sort of they were sort of in the dark as well, but not quite to the same extent.
The lighting was okay. I did have to bump it up. In reality, with your own eyes, they were much darker than you're seeing in this video here. So I guess my one critique would be maybe to work on the lighting. Maybe bump up the lighting around the park, especially where the characters are going to be.
I would pay another few euros to
get better lighting. A couple euros to buy a few light bulbs, perhaps.
To have a little lighting around the park. So, but anyway, they were fun. The characters were doing what characters do if they're not meeting you.
And they're in a perfect location because you have the sword in the stone back there. And everything makes sense where they are, but you wouldn't necessarily expect to find characters in certain areas.
Right, in the castle courtyard.
Right, or in the castle itself, I guess. There are some characters up there.
We didn't see everybody. It was, unless you're skipping shows, I don't see how you could see all the characters.
Pirate zombies. How could you go wrong with pirate zombies?
Again, but they are hard to see.
Well, I had to bump this up like 200% just to see him. But he was great. He was so much fun interacting with us.
We really enjoyed. You had not only characters that you could see like almost like a meet and greets, but not meet and greets. You could interact with them, but you had atmospheric all over the park. Everywhere, which was amazing.
And who knew that pirate zombies could interact in French and English? He was very talented. All of the characters were able to interact with us in English.
But I will say that everybody spoke French first, normally at Disneyland Paris, you sort of have that combination where it isn't necessarily assumed that you're going to speak French because not only do you have people from England and Ireland, but you have, we have people from friends from Belgium. They don't speak French, they speak English. So English is a big part of Disneyland Paris because it is such a known language. Not only, it's not an American thing, it's like an all over thing, but all of the characters and such tended toward French first. So you'd kind of have to start talking to them in English, and everybody knew it.
Right.
And I appreciated the character in the Lucky Nugget, who she was fantastic. And as soon as she heard I spoke English, she just whipped right into English.
I did see that. Now I'm going to let you kind of tell about this because I wasn't there for this part of the footage.
That
This
was
is what
really
you
cool.
did at Phantom Manor. This is great stuff, and it's very, even watching it now, it's very spooky and fun.
And I was with Roni at the time. He does stuff for us a little bit.
DLP Alicious.
Yes, that's his site. We just followed the Phantom. We saw Melanie was out, and then I got a little of Melanie, and then the Phantom was just sort of walking around, so we just followed him into the graveyard here.
Yeah, I love that. Is this the graveyard? This is where you guys were? I couldn't really tell.
Yeah, we walked up. It was at Boot Hill, and he went in like into a gated area that we couldn't walk in, and at some point he just like laughs.
Oh yes. Well,
And I
we'll
just
see
thought that
that,
was
but
so
we
cool.
won't be able to hear that. Yeah, I will link it in the show notes.
And normally when we see the Phantom, it's during the Halloween parade. So he's a big part of the Halloween parade, but we don't normally see him as a character at other times.
Right. I guess one of the only other times I know he was out was when they reopened Phantom Manor, and they had all these characters. And I guess he's going to do his little laugh right now for you. So again, it's great. We'll have to link that. But
And
very spooky. You could see even Phantoms have breathed that cold breath there.
And
Phantom.
it was so cold out. And I just waited to see if anything was happening, and Roni was with me, and I just thought he was really there. He goes, and it's just me and Roni and a few other people up
in
here.
the graveyard of all places.
Yeah, it was really cool. Now we have the brother bear character here. Is it Coda?
I think so. I know it looks like it's by one of our favorite little restaurants.
I have only seen Brother Bear once. So anyway, there's a lighting back there. You can see he's supposed to be in the light, but he mostly was not.
Yeah, well, I think he kind of went close to be closer to the guests.
And then we had this character, this performer in the Lucky Nugget, and she was so good, and I really enjoyed talking to her, and I felt like I was you because I normally don't really talk to the characters, but she asked me a question and I answered
You
her.
were doing great. You were a very nice interaction, and she gave you some good tips as well.
And there were other performers in here as well. I mean, it really was incredible just to walk around the park and see stuff going on everywhere. And I know in Discoveryland, like they had Miguel and such too. We didn't see him, or the Toy Story characters allegedly were in Discoveryland. We did see here the Stormtroopers
in French, by the way. They are speaking to me in French, and
I
I
think
did try to
both
get them.
French
No,
and
they
English.
did not.
Oh, did they not?
They did not switch.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought they
I
did.
showed that in the other show. Somebody else switched, but it wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Okay.
The
For some reason,
Stormtroopers.
I thought the Stormtroopers did as well.
Yeah, I think we're going to get where we had a switch at some point.
And I do speak a little French, but just
Yeah,
not
you're learning
enough.
it.
I am.
Every morning you try to take your French.
Yes.
I bought you for Christmas a
Yep.
French class, online class. So.
And we had characters over here by the Nautilus, and
Is this the first mate, I believe?
I believe that's who it is. And I actually didn't know who it was.
Well, it's not hard to not know. I mean, now
Right.
we're getting really obscure. And
Yes.
when you go to Main Street, you're going to find some really amazing but obscure characters from Main Street.
I will say, though, that during the evening as I was walking around without you, there were times that I saw what I assume are characters, but there was no way for me to necessarily know if they were cosplay or, the performers that they put out for the night. So, like, I saw some characters, at Sleeping Beauty Castle, and I'm just like, I don't know if they are.
Because they were so good, it could or could
I
not
have
be.
no idea if they were, characters or not.
Here is Chef Pluto,
Pluto, great lighting,
in front of
Waltz,
in front of Waltz. And I guess they also had Chef Goofy, but we had missed out on him.
Mm-hmm.
But this was great. Pluto is always fun.
And right, I mean, you could find the characters even down here on on
shake.
Main Street. And I also found, I don't know if we're going to see them yet, but some really atmosphere performers also on Main Street.
Yeah, I think we're
Town
about to start with that. And I'm going to let you kind of explain who they are, because I think it would be difficult. Like, I'm not even sure.
I have no idea. So as I go to Town Square, I noticed that there were people gathering. So I went and I see this, obviously he's a performer, shining up things. And
Maybe he's just a big fan.
no. So, you have the dentist. So if you go to Town Square, you'll see there's a dentist's office. So it took a minute to really get the idea that you've got all these essentially characters who are
Who live there,
who
who
live
live
there,
on
right,
Main
on Main
Street.
Street in Town Square area. And I just thought that was amazing. And I think that was the biggest thing that I posted on Twitter was there is this, the dentist was here, and you would never expect that.
Yeah, and now, do you know who?
I actually don't know, and I don't believe it was the first time he has been out. I think he was out at another event, and somebody mentioned who it was, but I'm not sure.
Tourist information, very
Right.
interesting. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you would say his role would be, but more just so interesting.
And
Main Street.
Yeah, and he goes meets with others. But, again, remember when I said you don't always know, like if all I saw was a dentist, I would be like, is this a guest or is it, a performer?
And
I wouldn't
he doesn't
know.
have anything that screams dentist either. How did you even know that he was the
I
dentist?
don't know. I just knew. He was a dentist. He was speaking all in French. And at one point I was going to say, hello, I was going to ask him a question, but he was being brought off.
And we have a policeman here.
There was all types of atmosphere, and it wasn't only in Town Square, like it was in various lands, but this is where I spent a lot of my time while you were
At the end. Well, this is
Yes.
where at the very end.
Oh, right, you were waiting for the show,
Right, the finale.
right? And I came down here because a lot of times I don't like to wait a really long time for things. I'd rather be roaming around and discovering.
And that's a very good thing.
Mm-hmm.
It looks almost like we have a mayor, a sort of Main Street down there.
And I actually wasn't sure. There were several characters, and I was wondering if one of them might be like Thomas Edison, who factors in the arcade on the
Right,
right-hand
that's
side.
right.
But I don't know what he was saying. Somebody did ask him something in English, but I still didn't know.
So we're going to transition away. We're going to look at the big reveal, and that's coming up. While you were doing this at the end of Main Street, I was trying to find a spot. Very difficult to find a spot for this big reveal, and that was in Central Plaza. Did you see the big reveal at all? The finale show in Central Plaza with the stages where all this was going on?
I was not close to it. I could see a little bit from where I was. I stayed very far out of the perimeter. I could see a little bit of the dancing. I could, see the castle. I was more where we were one time when watching the drones off to the right-hand side.
So I am not really sure what is being revealed or what is going on.
I have no idea.
But it was interesting to see these these performers dressed in Mickey-type clothes. And then you're going to see, I think, you're going to see Billy Ocean and Betty Rose again with, I guess you would call him the narrator, the guy here who was kind of setting things up earlier.
And Minnie.
And
Minnie
Minnie
and Mickey are there.
Minnie, right.
So I did see Minnie and Mickey walking in from where I was, so I knew they were on their way with the performers. And the performers remind me of the Guest Star Day. They sort of have that look to them.
That's right.
Right, so
Mickey Mouse Club type of a deal.
Yes, it used to be like every Tuesday they would have Guest Star Day, and then they would have performers, dancing and
So
such.
if anyone is listening that attended this event that can explain to us what happened at this big reveal, I would actually like to know. I still to this day don't know what was revealed or what I asked others. Nobody else
we
knew.
don't know.
Nobody
we don't know.
knew that attended with us. So anyway, I would love to see that in the note.
So what we're saying is the crux of the evening was lost on us, but we had a great time.
We did have a great time.
It was a fantastic night. The part you didn't have to know, about this. It was I think it was like a scavenger hunt. Like you didn't have to know any of that.
Right, and this thing at the end was really the weakest part of the evening anyway, as far as I'm concerned. The big shows we fully understood. And on the way out, we had some characters. We had Donald and Daisy, who were very affectionate, by the way, and Mickey and Minnie. Donald seems very proud of himself, by the way. Look at that. He's getting all these kisses, and he's like, yes, showing his muscles.
And, we only showed some of the characters because we didn't see all the characters. We probably saw half or less of all the characters that were all over the park because I would see online such and such of a character is in one place, but then you get there and it's a different character. I think the fairy godmothers were out and Miguel and the Toy Story characters. I see it's 2
It's
2
after
p.m.
2 a.m.
And thankfully Roni was there to drive us home because
Yes.
there's no RER,
No RER,
at that
right.
point. Or any kind of bus to our hotel.
Well, you're about to see a picture of us, and you could tell by the way we are dressed. It was just a little bit chilly this night. You have that big neck thing going on, and
it was
really
so
cold.
That was
in the 30s.
That was probably among the coldest days, certainly evenings that we were there.
And on the way out, everybody got a little gift, and it was a poster. And you're going to model the poster. I was finally able to get one. There it is. And as we were walking out,
and I'm ahead of you at this point.
Yeah, I think you already had yours, and there it is. And we still have that right behind us over there.
The mask definitely helped with the cold at that point.
So it was a great event, even though we didn't quite understand the whole
crux
story.
of it, yeah.
But it was overall an excellent time, and I can't wait to hopefully do whatever comes next.
And I will say that the lines for rides were very low. So if I was not going around taking photos and video and wanting to see some characters and other things, I would have been on the rides, because like everything I saw was like 5 minutes.
Yeah, non-existent line.
Yes.
So that was great.
And I mean, when you think about like what Premier Access and such costs, there's a real value in that, in being able to ride whatever whatever's open without too much of a wait.
And we want to thank our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel.
Yes, head to their site if you're looking for a deal. I had mentioned the deal for essentially a little bit later this summer into early fall. And also, if you're looking to book a cruise, we've got Silver Anniversary at Sea coming this summer, which is for the 25th anniversary of the Disney Cruise Line, and of course Disneyland Paris, which we had a great time as always for our 2 weeks, and Becky was there for like one day. We just missed it. They were there like one night.
I just saw Lou. I was chatting with him at an event I was at, and I can't believe the one day that we were not at Disneyland Paris is when Becky and Lou were there. So we just missed them. It would have been great to see them there at the park.
Yeah, I wish we had been able to catch up and kind of show him around. I think that was his first time there, right?
That's right. That's right. So next week we'll have more from Disneyland Paris. We're also going to have some Walt Disney World Easter, the Easter parade, whatever that
pre-parade, as long as they have it. It has not been announced.
Right? Whatever happens with that, we'll show that, some other Easter things, and whatever else we come up with for next week. We have plenty of Disneyland Paris still to come. We have all sorts of dining reviews and things we can show, and some other even more current Disneyland Paris things from our friends that are there right now.
I know, they're all sending us stuff, which is really nice.
And we'll have coverage of the anniversary from our good friend Aroni from DLP Alicious.
And that's in less than 2 weeks.
That's right. So anyway, thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.